Hey YouTube, Will from Will Development. Today I'm talking about the Orlando Strongman, I think it was 3, that I did back in February. I'm a little behind, I apologize. I've been talking about getting these videos out, and I'm finally taking the time to do it and talk about it and how the event went. This was, when going into it, I was treating it like a redemption run from Tampa's, because Tampa's was supposed to be the first competition where I didn't zero any events, and I actually would not come in last place. Those were my 2 goals going into that competition, and I did accomplish one of those goals at Tampa's, but failed to perform well enough to dig myself out of last place on that one. Is what it is. Learned some things and moved to Orlando's. Moved my mind to Orlando's, I should say. And that one, the goal was 100% to not come in last. Now, the good news going into this comp was I knew I wouldn't zero anything. And because of the nature of the weights of that particular competition, they were very approachable. A lot of things were going to be more of a rep fest sort of thing, especially, say, the opener with the deadlift and with a Bavarian style deadlift, I should say. Using Denny rings, which a lot of guys don't like, but I actually tend to prefer them for a lot of grip stuff. I think they feel, honestly, pretty comfortable. A lot of guys aren't used to it because they're just used to barbells and stuff, and a big reason why my grip is as good as it is I spent a lot of years just doing wrenching, mechanics work with manual tools, and all those tools are smaller than barbells. You gotta have a good grip to hold on to all that stuff all day and push and pull and things like that. So I think my hands are just sort of used to that kind of work. And I think most guys that work manual labor jobs for a significant portion of their life would probably agree to that idea that their hands can kind of, they don't need knurling in a barbell for it to feel fine. And I definitely don't. I'm not one of those guys at all. Axle feels fine to me. I don't care. It doesn't, you know, it's an axle, like whatever, it's a little bit bigger, who cares? Same thing with Denny rings. Alright, so they're a little narrow, just grab it right and you'll be fine, you know? Hook grip it, who cares? You're allowed to on those a lot of times. So yeah, it was gonna be a rep fest, and I knew I had ideas on how I was going to approach each event and goals for each one. On basically every event I was, except for one, I walked away content with my performance. That being said, there were some, how do I put this tactfully? There was some decisions made in the way the comp ran that were challenging to the point that they shouldn't have been there. There's always going to be some problem during every comp. There usually is something, whether it's a slowdown because of scoring or even an equipment failure. I sort of go in expecting these things. Even event changes, I totally expect these things. Most comps write that on the sign-up sheet that, you know, hey, any of these events could change at any time, including day of. And that's fine. But I will say on the way that the press, the block press was done, specifically, the way it got changed seemingly between weight classes and between divisions was very, very challenging, and it was so challenging to the point that it actually cost me a placing because of those changes, because I was under the impression that if I tied with somebody, or somebody tied with me, we would then get to do a tiebreaker afterward. Originally it was supposed to be a head-to-head, press till you die. First versus second, second versus third, that kind of thing. The day before, we were informed it would be changed to a round-robin style where basically you do a press. Go to the back of the line, you do a press until nobody can press anymore, and that's how you determine your placings. Which, my style of pressing blocks, which is a layback press, is very akin to that style of pressing, and most of my training went towards that style of pressing, where I was doing sets of 10s every minute on the minute, assuming I have a minute of rest, and then if I got 7 out of those 10, I knew I was fine, because the reality was I knew I'd probably have a minute and a half to 2 minutes between each person until we got near the end, and honestly I was like, hey, if I get second place, I'm fine with that. I mean, I'll fight for first, but if I don't get it, I walked away happy. So we got told that the day before, and then the day we actually got there, we got told we got told nothing. And it wasn't until my class was actually there to go that we were told, oh, okay, everybody just come up and do one. And then when you do your one, then you go to the next round where you get a minute to press as many times as you can, clean and press as many times as you can. And I was like, well, that really sucks. That does not favor my style of pressing. But we had heard and seen in other classes which only 2 had gone before us, some of the women, and I think the masters went before us. They had tiebreakers where they did go head-to-head when anybody had a tie. So I went up, did my one, it was easy, and then I went up, and when I got to do the max for a minute, arguably could have gotten 4, but I messed up one of them, so I ended up only getting 3. And then somebody else had gone, and they also got 3. And I said, oh, well, we'll do a tiebreaker, and I know I can beat this guy. And the guy who was there even said yes. He said, if they want to do a tiebreaker, he said, I'll go up and do my 1, you go up and do 2, and you can just have it. And I would have gotten 3rd place in that event, which would have felt really good to podium in something for once. I don't care if it's just one event. I'd like to podium somewhere. It'd be nice. And unfortunately, they decided to just share points and split them between him and I. And I was like, well, that sucks. It wouldn't have changed ultimate placing anyway. It was more like a make me feel better about my performance, because I know in this exact situation I am better than this guy, and he even admitted I was better than him in this situation. And I would have liked the scoreboard to reflect that. One of the other sort of issues that I didn't like how this particular comp ran was a lot of times in Strongman what they do is whoever got first place in the last event gets to go last in this event. So you get rewarded and you get an advantage for doing better. And you get punished for doing worse. Which brings a little strategy sometimes, especially in a comp like this. For me, where I knew going in, I could handle everything, and it's like, okay, let me go all out on this event, because I damn sure don't want to go last on that event, or first on that event. And unfortunately, they had me go first, which that was another thing. Normally when you sign up early, you get another advantage of getting to go last on the first event, and instead the opposite happened. I had to go first on every single event. And look, it happens. Do I think my placing could have changed much? Had that not been the situation? Maybe on one of the events, on the deadlift, perhaps. But having to go first sucks, because I had to basically go all out. And even then I didn't. I think I got 18 reps on it, which was second from last place, who got, I believe, 16. And I really wanted 20, but let's say I had gone, if I had known that person who got last only got 16, I would have only done 17 reps. Because I know I can't get to the 23 that the next person had, so, I'll just save 1 rep worth of energy, but you never know, that little bit sometimes counts for a lot. So I didn't really like that part of it, but, again, would it have changed anything? Probably not. But all that being said, I still had a good time, managed to stay at a last place. The guys who won, they earned every second of it, let's just put it that way. And I saw some places where I could definitely improve. They had a stone throw event that I was just awful at. That being said, even there, the judging, on one of the judgings, I was kind of like, I don't know about that call. Some of the distances they gave me, I was like, I don't really know about that one. I thought maybe this or that, but again, would it have changed it much? Probably not. Again, it just comes down to me wanting to sort of have the score sheet reflect how I believe my performance was. But all in all, it was a good comp. I had a good time. It was indoors. It ran super fast, which I liked. We were done by 2, I think. Not even that. I think we were done by 1, which was awesome. They were running concurrent events. Yeah, so it was definitely a really good. Overall, it was a good experience. It was a good, I guess 7.6 out of 10, 7.6 out of 10. Other than those 2-3 things I mentioned, really not a whole lot to critique about it. And like I said, learned a few things about my own performance. specifically on like explosive movements. I definitely need to work on those, which I already knew. But it sort of opened up my eyes, and I was like, you know what, I need to start incorporating some more of these kind of like throwing movements, because I really suck at these events, and at some point I'm going to be better to the point where I could actually keep up and even beat some of these guys at certain movements like yoke, farmers, and maybe possibly even a static event or two. And then we're going to come to this event and it's just going to demolish any chance I have of doing well, and I need to work on that. So it's a good learning experience. Overall enjoyed the comp. Happy to finally not be in last place. That was a good feeling. So yeah. That's it. That's basically all I have to say about that comp. That's all I have to say about that. I'll drop this on a Wednesday, and then the following week I will release the comp footage on the next Wednesday. So if you want to check it out, be sure, you know, subscribe, just check back with the channel, all that good stuff, to actually see the footage of the events. I'll only put in one of the stone throws just because they all suck, so it's like you don't need to see a whole lot of this. Yeah, that's about it for this one. So yeah, fight your way out of last place. It can happen. If you don't, then let's see what